Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are talking about a massive structural shift in wealth building. You know, historically, passive real estate investing was something strictly reserved for the elite. If you didn't have massive capital, well, you were simply locked out. But today, we're breaking down how modern property technology, or PropTech, has completely democratized real estate investing for everyday folks like you and me. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you completely maxed out your work schedule, yet you still feel that burning desire to grow your net worth? It's a super common ceiling. If you're trading hours for dollars, you inevitably run out of hours in the day. But imagine earning money while you're relaxing on a beach somewhere, or literally while you're sleeping, without adding a single extra hour to your already stressful workday. That's the real promise of passive income, and that is exactly what we're mapping out today. Here is our blueprint for this explainer. First, defining real estate passive income. Second, 7 pathways to property wealth. Third, the syndication solution. Fourth, 3 syndication investment options. And finally, 5 steps to get started. Let's kick things off with Section 1, defining real estate passive income. Before we get into the specific tools, we need to take a step back and clearly separate the old way of making money from the new way. Active income means trading your limited time and labor for traditional wages. It's a strict 1-to-1 ratio. The second you stop working, you stop earning. Passive income, though, totally different paradigm. This is where your money actually works for you. It generates returns without your active daily involvement. And real estate is basically the ideal vehicle here. With a smart upfront investment, you get competitive returns when a property is eventually sold, or you create ongoing monthly cash flow from collecting rent, all while riding the wave of long-term property appreciation. Moving right along to Section 2, 7 pathways to property wealth. The menu of real estate investing is incredibly vast, and honestly, a bit messy to navigate if you don't know what you're looking for. The source surveys 7 distinct methods: long-term rentals, short-term rentals, note investing, hard money loans, REITs, crowdfunding, and syndication. Now, what's truly amazing is that recent advances in PropTech, combined with changes in crowdfunding legislation, have made all 7 of these more accessible than ever before, but they are definitely not all created equal. We really have to contrast the active reality of being a landlord against modern passive financial vehicles. Short-term and long-term rentals are high effort. You're essentially running a hospitality business. You have to find tenants, deal with stressful vacancies, turn over units. Unless you actually enjoy 3 a.m. emergency plumbing calls, you'll be paying heavily out of pocket for property managers. Yes, rentals objectively offer fantastic tax breaks, but they tie up your capital for decades and require surprise maintenance budgets. On the passive, lower effort side, we have hard money loans and REITs. These offer shorter terms or hands-off dividends, but they objectively carry varying levels of risk. And critically, you lack direct control over the specific real estate projects. Let's quickly define a couple of these key terms to really grasp the spectrum, starting with a REIT, or Real Estate Investment Trust. Think of this as the absolute set it and forget it end of the passive scale. A REIT is a pool of shares in real estate companies, functioning just like a mutual fund, offering automatically diversified dividend income. It requires a very minimal upfront investment. However, the downside, and we absolutely must note this, is that you own a share in a massive real estate company. You do not own the actual underlying physical real estate. Another alternative on the highly passive side is note investing. This involves purchasing private real estate funding notes on the secondary market to collect monthly payments from property owners. It's an entirely hands-off alternative, well, as long as the borrower pays on time. It typically requires a huge upfront investment, and if the borrowers default on those notes, stepping in to foreclose on a property to retrieve your asset can get incredibly messy and legally complex. Which brings us to Section 3, the syndication solution. Narrowing our focus to that sweet spot, let's compare general crowdfunding to real estate syndication. General crowdfunding pools funds from many investors to finance a deal, but it very often uses debt funding, meaning you, the investor, are essentially acting as a lender. Syndication takes that awesome low barrier to entry, but shifts the underlying mechanics. Investors join a fund sponsor to create a specific legal entity. That entity chooses specific projects and owns actual property equity. So syndication gives you the accessibility of crowdfunding, but keeps the traditional, highly coveted benefit of specific real estate equity ownership. Now for Section 4, 3 syndication investment options. To see how this works in practice, we're impartially reviewing the Gatsby investment model as our real-world case study for this asset class. They're a syndication company focusing on Southern California residential real estate. The source really hits the nail on the head when it says you can get the financial benefits of a fix and flip without the time, skill, experience, and knowledge it would take to flip a home on your own. You know, flipping houses on reality TV looks like a super fun weekend project, but the reality is brutally labor-intensive and financially perilous. Syndication allows you to completely sidestep the dust, the unreliable contractors, and the daily grind. Let's compare two specific offerings from the Gatsby case study, showing exactly how your personal investor timeline dictates your strategy. First, we have single-family flips. This is a shorter 10 to 14-month timeline. The syndicate buys a house, an expert team steps in to renovate it, and they often add an accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, to maximize buyer demand and overall return. It's designed for a fast turnaround. Contrast that with multifamily build to rent. This is for investors with a longer horizon, typically around a 5-year hold. Here, the syndicate builds a multifamily asset and holds it as a rental, creating ongoing monthly rental cash flow, plus the benefit of long-term property appreciation. There's also a third option that briefly deserves our attention because it perfectly bridges the gap between the fast flip and the long-term hold. Multifamily developments involve purchasing a single-family lot, utilizing architects to design a custom multifamily space, building it completely from scratch, and selling the completed project within 1 to 2 years. It's a bit more involved than a single flip, but it gets your capital back much faster than a 5-year rental hold. So the absolutely crucial point here is the $25,000 entry point. Think about that for a second. In the traditional real estate world, 25 grand won't even cover a fraction of a down payment in most major markets. But through the power of syndication, that exact same amount unlocks access to custom ground-up multifamily developments. It's a real game changer. And finally, Section 5, 5 steps to get started. Let's reframe the onboarding process to show exactly how low the barrier to entry has become, mapping out a highly accessible action plan. Step 1, explore online opportunities to find the right timeline and risk profile for your goals. Step 2, sign up for an account in just 2 minutes. Step 3, verify your accredited investor status. Because of federal financial regulations, many syndicates require this, and it takes about 1 to 2 business days using a secure third-party service like Verify Investor. Step 4, select your specific project from the available pool. And Step 5, simply wire the funds. In 5 steps, straight from your laptop, you become a real estate equity holder. And what happens after you wire the funds? You aren't just left in the dark wondering where your money went. The source specifically notes that investors track their project's progress and expected returns through a convenient, centralized online portal. This brilliantly illustrates how the modern investor stays deeply connected to their capital and watches their property physically evolve, all without ever having to put on a hard hat or do the grueling physical labor themselves. Which brings us to our final thought today. As PropTech makes genuine real estate equity ownership highly accessible straight from your laptop, how will you put your capital to work while you sleep? The active landlord barrier has officially been removed. The structural tools are right here. The next move in your wealth building strategy is entirely up to you. Thank you